I have a statement that I would like to make today. You do know that sometimes God just says no. You do know that sometimes God just says no. I know that God can do all things, but sometimes God doesn't do everything. We know that God has the power and he has the authority to make all mountains move. We know that God has the power and authority to make anything go. But you do understand that sometimes God said, no, it's not gonna go. Sometimes God says, no, that mountain is not gonna move. I want you to think about it on today. We live in such a world where everybody just feels like God is nothing but our genie in a bottle type of God. Just go to God, ask him for it, and he'll do it. And if he don't do it now, he's gonna do it later. Well, this is a reality check for somebody. Sometimes God is not gonna do it now. He's not gonna do it later. He just says no. That's the reality. Sometimes God just says no, and God has said no to me, and I just had to accept it. See, the more I started to seek God, I started to learn God, and I started to learn that his ways is not my ways and his thoughts is not my thoughts. So when God starts transforming you, he starts transforming you to learn his ways and his thoughts. See, I want you to think about it. What could it be, some things in life that you're going to God for and he simply told you no, and maybe you don't want to accept it, but sometimes God just says no? Because I want you to think about it now. If your child came and asked you for something, would you just give it to them? If they asked you, would you give your child everything that he or she asked you for? And if you gave your child everything he or she asked you for, how do you think they would turn out? And right now, some people, they understand that that wasn't good of them giving their child everything that he or she asked them for, because that did nothing but end up messing up their child. I want you to think about it on today. See, I can remember when I went to God and I prayed and I said, Lord, I just want you to take away me and my husband's mortgage. And you want to know what the Heavenly Father said? He said, why? And I said, huh? He said, why? Why am I taking away you and your husband's mortgage? I bless y'all, two well-bodied, able people. Y'all got health in y'all body. Y'all are able to get up and go to work and make a living for yourselves. Why in the world am I paying off your mortgage? And the Heavenly Father told me, no. I went to the Heavenly Father and told him, I'm tired of paying off these student loans. I said, pay them off. You know what the Heavenly Father told me? No. He said, why can't you pay them? You make enough money. You can pay those bills every month. It's not hurting you. You may not want to pay it, but you're able to pay it. The Heavenly Father told me, no. See, that's a different thing. If I come into some money and I choose to pay off my student loans, or if I choose to pay off the house note, that's a whole nother different story. But the Heavenly Father said, no, I'm not doing it. God can do all things, but sometimes God is just not going to do everything. Somebody right now has been praying to God, saying, God, pay off my debt. And you know what God told you? No. Some woman is going right now to God and she's saying, God, I want that man to marry me. And God is saying, no. She's praying and saying, but God, I want you to fix him. God is saying, no. Have you just ever considered that God is saying that's not the man for you? I want you to think about somebody right now is praying for a house. Somebody's praying for a car. And God strictly told you, no. Have you ever just thought that God said that's not the house for you? That's not the car for you. God said no. Somebody has been praying for a certain job and God simply said no, because God is saying that's not the job for you. Somebody is praying right now. They want the check in the mail. Lord, can you just please send the check in the mail? And you know what God is saying? No. Have you ever just thought about it? And have you ever just thought that maybe God is saying you need to get your stuff right? Have you ever thought about that? Maybe God is saying, maybe you the one that need to be fixed. See, we always going to God. Do this, God. fix this, God. But how many times have we just ever went to God and said, God, I want you to fix me? See, right now, somebody praying and somebody saying, God, I want you to bring my marriage back together. I want you to bring it back together. And God is saying, no. Not that God can't bring that marriage back together, but have you ever thought about it? If God bring that marriage back together and you still living and doing the same things that you doing, what do you think your mate is going to do? They're going to leave again. How often do we go before God and say, God, I'm the one that need to be fixed. I'm the one that messed up. You got a woman right now praying to God saying, God, I want a child. God is saying, no, you barely can take care of yourself. What good is a child going to do? You got some woman praying right now, but God, me and my husband been trying for years to have a child. Y'all cussing and fighting each other like cats and dogs. Do you really think a child is going to solve that? Sometimes we got to be real and understand that God just says no. He simply says no, and we have to learn to accept it. See, somebody praying to God right now, Lord, take away the high blood pressure. Take away the diabetes. Have you ever thought that God is just strictly saying, maybe you need to eat right and start exercising more? God is saying, no. What is it in your life that you've been going to God about? You've been trying to change to a certain job. God is saying, no. You've been trying to move to another city, another state. And God is saying, no, I don't need you moving to another city, another state. Think about the things that you've been going to God about. And has God told you no and you just haven't accepted the no? Well, today is the day. It's time for you to accept that God does say no. See, that's even with the healing that's going on. God can say no, but God is saying that I'm with you. I'm with you with everything that you're going through. But sometimes God says no to the healing. But God said, I will give you the strength to endure everything that you're going through. And God is saying, know that I'll be with you. Sometimes God just says no. It doesn't mean he's a cruel God. He's a mean God. He's not a loving God. But he's a God who knows what's best for us, because we think that we know what's best for ourselves. But God said, I know what's best for you. So on today, start seeking God and learn the ways and the thoughts of God. It's time to seek him, to truly, really learn him. Could God be telling you no, and you think he's just so mean and rude? But you just want God to be your genie in a bottle type of God. But God does not work that way. God says, I want to fix you. I want to better you. Could you be running around in this life worrying about things, and in a blink of an eye, you can be gone and your soul will be headed to hell? You more worried about a new car, but your soul is headed to hell. You more worried about moving into a new house, but your soul is headed to hell. You more worried about the fact that you can't get your nails and hair did every week, but your soul is headed to hell. Open your eyes. Start seeking God so you can have a true relationship with the true and living God, and you can get to truly understand God. But what's most important, that you can know when your eyes close, you will be living with the true and living God. So always remember my closing. Self-examination is the best examination, and Jesus Christ is Lord, and he's all we have. Have a great rest of the day.